Dear Deep State, I'm talking to you today because we the people have a message for you that is very true. It fills my heart with joy, but I don't think you're gonna like it. And by the way, if you're just a good regular person watching this video, I want you to know this isn't a comedy video. This is a message for the Deep State. Okay, Deep State, back on track. First, let me define who you are, because the term Deep State can sound so ambiguous and unexact that it can almost sound discrediting to the person like me using it, which I'm sure is by design. So because you guys refuse to identify yourselves so you can pretend you don't exist, let me identify you for you. The Deep State is all you unelected, power-hungry people that influence politicians and corporations through money, bribes, intimidation, and blackmail to violate human rights and the Constitution so you can have more control over people. And you like to avoid the light because hiding in the shadows lessens the risk of you having your corrupt powers seen and taken away. That's who you are. We see you, and I'm talking to you right now. Hello, Deep State. By the way, be sure to subscribe to my channel and share this video if you like it, Deep State. Here's my message for you, Deep State. You've lost. You've lost your war against humanity in America. For several years now, we've been aware that we're either going to experience your Great Reset or our Great Awakening. Well, we don't have to wonder which is going to happen anymore because the Great Awakening has already happened and it's only growing stronger. Your Great Reset, which I'm sure would have been lovely, is nothing more but a rotten corpse of an idea at this point. Now, Deep State, I know you've worked for many decades on your whole one world globalist government plan to enslave humanity for our protection, so you're gonna have to take a while to grieve this loss.
No, we haven't lost. We still have plans for you, human peasant.
Well, the first stage of grief is denial, and that's where you're at right now. But I think you deserve more explanation than this. In a minute, I'll share with you why you've lost, but first I'll explain to you how we know you've lost. You stay so secretive in the shadows, so how could we possibly know? Well, we see a lot of your work that's very consistently out of alignment with truth. And you've been doing a lot of work. It's your fingerprints. We know that if you repeat a lie often enough and long enough, people will believe it. But what you didn't know is that if you repeat too many lies too often, then people stop believing any of them. There's a story called The Boy Who Cried Wolf. Maybe you should have read it. You've cried wolf about many things. There's a pandemic that's gonna kill everyone. There's a shot that's gonna save everyone. Trust the science, but you're not allowed to question the science either. The climate is coming to get you. Your kids were born in the wrong gender. Judging people based on their skin color will defeat racism. That island doesn't exist, and human trafficking isn't a problem. We have to censor you to protect free speech. The border isn't intentionally being held wide open. We have to invade your privacy for your own good. And we have to violate the principles of democracy to save democracy. You have to believe all this is true because we have our useful idiots tell you it's true. You guys are fun. Now, it's taken a little while for enough people to win back their minds that you violated, but it's happened. And that means the light of truth has conquered all your lies. And they're not even good lies, to be honest. They're actually pretty crappy. Kind of hilarious, actually. That's why I make jokes about them regularly. And I appreciate you being the butt of so many of my jokes. You deserve it. But now to the reason why you lost. You've lost because you and your deception have been the principal force waking more people up than anything else. And I know a lot of people bought your lies in the beginning because it was more comfortable for them. But unfortunately for you, when people live a lie, it feels really bad inside of them. It's constricting, it dims their heart and soul, and therefore causes depression and anxiety. It doesn't feel good. So, when the cage of your lies became too uncomfortable for people to live in, they made people very hungry to embrace the uncomfortable truth they once avoided. The truth shall set people free who've grown tired of living in the prison of your deception. And FYI, people like freedom more than imprisonment, and lies always lead to truth if you follow the breadcrumb trail, and we have. So Deep State, before I forget, on behalf of humanity, thank you for waking so many of us up. I know you didn't mean to, but I'm glad you did. But wait, there's more you need to know, Deep State. With your shenanigans that started to amp up and get really obvious in 2020, you helped ignite the era of freedom lovers. So many people woke up, thanks to you, to recognize their love for freedom and how everything beautiful in life stems from freedom. But the freedom lover era has ended. It's actually up-leveled and evolved into the era we're living in now. The era of the freedom warrior. A freedom warrior is someone who doesn't just love freedom, but is someone who also takes action to uphold and fight against anything that threatens it. Freedom warriors stand on principle, and their cause is greater than themselves. That's why a freedom warrior is willing to die on his hill. They also know it's better to die on their feet than live on their knees. You, Deep State, have awakened the freedom warriors. And the freedom warriors are we the people. And in case you're wondering, I'll tell you exactly when the paradigm shifted. If you didn't already know, there was an assassination attempt on President Trump's life, which we know you had nothing to do with. Lone gunman, Secret Service just had a lot of coincidental blunders that day. On July 13th, President Trump rose from the ground with a bloody face after getting shot, put his fist in the air and yelled, "Fight!" That is the exact moment the era of the freedom warriors started. And that was at 6:11 p.m. Oddly, Ephesians 6:11 says, "Put on the full armor of God so you can take a stand against the devil's schemes." We did, and became the freedom warriors. And though you have lost, we the people, the freedom warriors, know you're not going to stop. You'll do your thing with your candidate, the election, your propaganda, censorship, poisoning our food supply, your next pandemic. But just know your actions are in vain because you've helped awaken a critical mass of people to see you and what you stand for. And this critical mass cannot be overturned by your pathetic mass of maybe several thousand beta males without a conscience, whose only weapon is fear, which is powerless against freedom warriors fueled by love. So even though you're still playing your game, just so you know, the clock has run out on you and you've lost. Deep State, we see the real you. Now I've sat with the question, what could motivate a small group of people to be so power hungry for control that they don't even blink when it comes to lying, killing, and harming innocent men, women, children, and babies? Your behavior is so vile that it's almost an incomprehensible question, but I've come up with an answer. What is it? We know you weren't held enough as babies. We know you weren't loved enough as children. You never felt the love that you needed and that, quite honestly, you actually deserved. Consider, what happens to adults who came from this type of background who aren't willing to heal the pain in their hearts? Well, they compensate for the lack of love by seeking control. And that's exactly what you're doing. To the degree that you try to control other people, which in your case is pretty immense, is the exact degree that you don't feel loved. Oh, and this is really going to disappoint you. Here's what nobody ever told you. Let's say you did reach your endgame of control with total world domination and complete enslavement of humanity. It still wouldn't satisfy you. It wouldn't feel like enough. You'd still be unfulfilled and thus you would still lose. Despicable people of the Deep State, I'm sorry your childhood was so cold and loveless. I'm sorry your heart has been scarred over from the pain. And I'm sorry you've gotten even further from your hearts as you've pursued control over other people rather than healing the pain you carry in your hearts. Myself and many other freedom warriors will be praying for our enemy, which is you. Not praying for the success of your warped agendas or wicked beliefs, but praying for you in the reconnection to your heart and soul, and thus to God. Quite frankly, your lust for control has denied you the beauty of your own humanity and made you an enemy of yourself, and in turn, an enemy of ours. You deserve better than that, and we deserve better than your behavior. In closing, Deep State, you have lost because your actions have awakened the freedom warrior spirit in a critical mass of people. We now know that we, the people, have held the power all this time, and we appreciate you for helping us remember that. We'll continue boldly standing for freedom, voicing our voices, and fighting against anything you throw at us. And you might want to change your name from the Deep State to the Defeated State. And not only will we not stop, we will only get bolder and stronger, because we're currently living on the hill we're willing to die on. Always remember, Deep State, truth conquers. Have a great day. By the way, if you are a freedom warrior, you know that our strength only grows stronger when we come together. That's why I would love to invite you to my very first Awaken with Freedom event right here just outside of Austin, Texas, September 27th. It's an evening where freedom warriors are coming together to grow stronger with comedy, conversation, and community. Of course, I'll be sharing an important message on how we can grow stronger. I've also got guest comedians and guest speakers like Mickey Willis, the director of all the Plandemic films. So freedom warrior, if you are feeling the call to join me and the rest of the Awaken community, grab your tickets at awakenwithjp.com, and I'll see you on September 27th at the Awaken with Freedom event.